figured I'd get back on here and kind of do a follow up on that showing restraint. You know, somebody like Putin. I'm talking a world leader, I should just say, just not Putin in general, but just a world leader has to weigh a decision very, very carefully. There's a few bad actors out there that created a problem for whoever. And does he unleash all hell upon a country because of a few bad actors? What I'm saying is do you kill a bunch of infants and small children and women because of a few bad actors? I believe there's a time when that happens because the other party's so evil and wicked that they don't care. They actually want it to happen. But you, as a person with a conscience and a belief in God or whatever, you're like, man, I mean, I just, I'm going to try to work this out as best I can, as peaceful as I can. Or if I do get in a conflict, we're going to try not to be overly brutal in our conflict. We're going to try to just, stay just above it to keep it under control, but not to the point to where, we kill a whole bunch of innocents. It's going to happen, and you realize it's going to happen, but you're trying not to do it. You're trying to be as, if it's a word, to describe war, as gentle as you can be during a war. And that's a fine balance. I mean, that's a hard road to follow. I mean, come on, man. Because what I'm really getting at here is this, too, is you show restraint on a lot of people because they're ignorant and they're stupid. Don't them a cigar to go out. But you show restraint on a lot of people because they're just ignorant and stupid and they just don't get it. They don't understand. I mean, there's 1,000 reasons for it. So you show restraint on them. Maybe even show some mercy on them. Because you look around and you look over and you see them, got some little kid that they got to take care of, a family of their own. But they're too stupid to understand. They haven't matured enough. And so you just back off. Hopefully they'll mature some. Hopefully, they'll think about what happened and go, well, I was a jerk, and they learn and they move forward and become a better person because of that. I've probably said this before, but these damn Microsoft updates and crap, I'm telling you, man. I paid to use the system, I'm not changing your code. I don't give a crap about your code. I don't give a crap about none of your stuff. All I want to do is use it. I paid to use it. Quit screwing stuff up. God, it's got to do with spying on you more than anything. Safety, yeah, right. Who's going to protect me from you? It's like the government. Now I digress, but it's kind of like the same thing. The government sits here and yells safety, and everybody's yelling safety, and oh, we're going to take care of you, but who protects us from you? And that's basically where I'm kind of coming at with this. Also, this showing restraint thing is because there's a lot of examples in the Bible, and one being is if the strong man knew when his house was going to be broke into, it would not. And there's a lot of stuff, people have died because they 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 were evil. Look at David and Goliath. Here's a little guy and a big giant, and he kills him with a rock. There's a lot of examples about that. So my thing is yes, you have to show restraint on some things, and some things you don't have a choice. They don't leave you a choice. I mean, this is still the Constitution, Bill of Rights. People say it's dead. It's only dead because they allowed it. They're standing back and not allowing. They're not going forward. They're not. They're not pressuring. They're not putting pressure on the government. They're not putting pressure on agencies. They're not putting pressure where they need to be putting it, and letting these people get by with what they're doing. They make unjust laws constantly, violate your rights constantly, and you stand back and you allow it to happen, but you don't want a damn war either. Because they say nothing good comes from war. Well, sometimes it does, but you sure the hell. I mean, look at David. David, David did God's work. A faction that was God didn't like, didn't want, he'd go out and kill them all. He did God's work. That's why his son built the temple, because you know David, like, hey, I'll build your temple, and God looks at it and says, no, you did what I wanted you to do, but you got blood on your hands, and it's not your fault, it's mine, because I told you to go do it. Now your son will build the temple because he doesn't have blood on his hands. His hands are clean. So David served his purpose. His son served his purpose. And that's what I'm getting at. People serve purposes in life. And we allow this government to be lawless. They come in and they yell the law, the law, the law, when they violate every thing in the Constitution, everything in the Bill of Rights. The grievances we had in the Bill of Rights is a few compared to the hundreds, probably thousands we have today with them. They would have never allowed this. Our forefathers would not have allowed this. It would have been another war. And nobody, people have been there, people that understand it, get it, they don't want it. They see the horrors of it on both sides. And that's what I was saying. They got leaders that show great restraint because they have a great understanding. But then you have others that they're just pure wicked, pure evil. Kind of like the cartels. They want to push drugs on this. God, look at this. Little kids, pregnant women, the whole 9 yards, teenagers, it doesn't matter your age, your race, nothing. They don't discriminate. They just want you to buy their product. And if you get in the way of them and their product, man, they're going to come after you. They're going to do whatever they can to take you out, make an example out of you. In situations like that, don't show restraint. You see, there's times to show restraint and times not to. And when you have evil like that running rampant through your country, your community, I don't believe, in my opinion, you should show restraint. God Almighty would have sent David in and cleaned the place up. God could still do it. But God's got other plans. It's God. He's smarter than all of us and everything else. And like I said, you can sit back and allow the bullcrap to happen. He sent Moses in to free his people. And his people kept going back into captivity because they're ignorant. So he tried to do it peaceably. But the king wouldn't listen. Firstborn died, because of this and that. And then, they charged through the river, and when Moses parted the Red Sea. And there you go, we're going to go right after them. And then Moses closed the sea on them, and they all died. The pursuers died. That was God doing that. It wasn't Moses. Are there Moseses out there? Could be. I don't know. I'm not God. I can't answer that question. But God's on a whole other level. We ain't on that pay scale, well above our pay grade. So what I'm getting at is, I think you understand it, that there's time for restraint, and certain people show great restraint because they understand the consequences. And there's other times when it's like you're being attacked unjustly, and you can't show restraint. There's people out there. I mean, this is Hitler. How do you think Hitler took control and started throwing the Jews around and throwing them into gulags and everything else and killing them? He changed their constitution. He changed their laws so they could walk in and do these things. Does that sound familiar? Like I said, if one Jew would have killed one Nazi every time they came to the door, that would have been at least 6 million Nazis dead right there. He would not have had the forces to keep his country under lock and key and fight a war at the same time. He wouldn't have had enough people. Hell, if each Jew would have killed two Nazis, so that would have been 12 million. And there's no way. He would have had to stop, and he would have had to reevaluate everything and look around, going, "Man, I can't control the home front here, and I can't fight the war. I just don't have the manpower to do this." He'd have been in trouble real quick. And sometimes it's better to let your country fall than to let it be destroyed. Because you can always go back, pick the pieces up. Good people can pick the pieces up, put it back together. And community is the answer. They don't want you to trust your neighbor. They don't want you to get along with your neighbor, blah, 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 because there's strength there. Remember, there's jury nullification, too. Remember that. Don't, if people are, I got to get a jury duty, I got to get a jury duty. Don't. If you don't agree with the law, and they want to sit there and say, this guy did this against the law, who did he harm? The law. Oh, he harmed the law. Harmed the state. He harmed this, he harmed that. Really, you can harm the state. Okay. He did this or did that. And you step back and you look at it and you scratch your head going, well, I don't agree with that law. So the guy, a guy, woman, gal, it doesn't matter. Find him innocent, acquit him, whatever. And he goes, well, how the hell can you do that? Because he broke the law, so we don't agree with the law. It's the law here is a question, not what the person did, because the law is unjust, as we see it. Well, they got a problem now, don't they? And that's what you need to remember. Don't get out of jury duty, go. And if you find the law to be unjust, you have to find the person to be innocent. There's quotes out there, too, where founding fathers have said, when something's unconstitutional, why are you following it? To give it any credence, to give it any a semblance of law. When it's, it's unconstitutional. You know it's unconstitutional. You don't need somebody to come out and tell you it's unconstitutional. You know it's unconstitutional, so why are you even following it? A lot of damage gets done between here and there. And I mean, you read some of the founding fathers' quotes, and I mean, there's smart men and women. No, the women were damn smart too. They were tough. You know, how the women back then are tougher than all the men today. You wouldn't want to go up against one of them. You get your ass kicked. Anyways, y'all take care. Have a good one. I'll probably put up another video right after this one if you watch this far. It's gonna have to do with some other area, but it kind of needs to be said. It's nothing bad. It's about farming really.